Good morning. Welcome back to Daybreak on this 23rd day of June 2020. It's now 26 minutes to 7 o'clock, to 8 o'clock rather. And it's time to speak to the Bungoma Senator, Moses Wetangula, who is joining us from his home here in Nairobi. Good morning, Senator, and how are you keeping?
Fine, thank you. And how are you?
I'm all right. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And we want to take a look at some of the things that have been happening in the politics of the country. And I want to begin with the situation within your own party, Ford Kenya, because a few weeks ago we saw you being dethroned and someone else, Wafula Munyenyi, becoming the party leader. How have you gone ahead to repossess the leadership of that party? What's the progress now?
Well, you are wrong in saying someone else became the party leader. He never did. They attempted to disrupt the leadership of the party in a grouping that sat at some hotel in Nairobi, led by the Wamunyenyi you're talking about, Dr. Seli, the MP for Tongaren, and the governor of Bungoma. But the activities have come to naught because the party is intact, the party is operational.
Right.
And the party is going on with its programmed activities in revamping its membership and preparation for the NDC once the corona close down is lifted.
All right. And of course, yes, you said that there are people that tried, because we've even heard you say that it was an illegal coup or a coup against the party. But what does this say about a party that previously had been rather peaceful? What is happening and what is causing all these changes and differences within the party?
The entire enterprise, in my view, and in view of many of my colleagues who have seen these sinister plans being executed, is driven by external influence, external to the party, by people who are not members or officials of the party. Who are funding this agenda, who are hosting meetings both in Nairobi and on the outskirts of Nairobi, and who have made public statements, which your media house has carried, to the effect that they are quite happy to see the back of the current party leader of Ford Kenya, who is yours truly. But the change of leadership of any party is a prerogative of its members, not a prerogative of outsiders and idlers who come in to cause disruption. Secondly, the National Executive Council of the party under our constitution, and indeed the constitutions of many parties, has no authority to change the leaderships of parties. Neither does the Register of Political Parties have that mandate under the Political Parties Act. The only organ that elects leaders of a party are the National Delegates Congress.
Right.
And in the case of our party, Ford Kenya, the Lion Party, we have had all the grassroots elections countrywide done and finished. We are waiting to have General Council and NDC, which we had slated for the last Friday of March before the corona closure came in. So we would have finished. And those who want to take leadership of the party must follow democratic steps and processes and come and compete for the leadership when the NDC is called. That is how democratically leaderships are changed in an organization. You don't just call yourself into a hotel and declare yourself a leader of a party without the mandate of the people.
And Senator, I'm interested because you said that this influence is by outsiders and idlers. Do you have names of individuals that are behind this, that you have evidence that they are the ones that are sponsoring this disruption within the party?
If you go to the Bible, you will find a situation where somebody was asked whether he was, I think it's Jesus who was asked whether he was the only stranger in Jerusalem. Are you the only stranger in Kenya? These things are in public domain. Leaders who are proclaiming leadership have been frequenting a home of some leader in the outskirts of Nairobi. They have been visiting offices of important people in Nairobi. It has been all over social media and mainstream media. They themselves have been making pronouncements that if their changes succeed, they are welcoming certain individuals in high places to join the party and lead them. So it is not for their interest that they are doing it. They are puppets of others. They have said it themselves. I'm not the one saying it.
All right. I take notice that you don't want to mention the names, but yes, I'm not a stranger in Jerusalem. But all the same, let's focus on the situation with the politics of the country. You're seeing some changes in the leadership of parliament, and especially for the minority party. You're now, should I say, Acting Secretary General Dr. Chris Omalo, is Member of Parliament for Kiminini, has lost his seat as a minority deputy whip. Were these decisions agreed upon by NASA? And if not, how were these decisions to pick leaders for the National Assembly and Senate arrived at the beginning?
As NASA, we had several organs. The management board and the apex body was the summit. The leaderships of the houses were agreed through the organs of the party. And that is how they were shared out, with Wiper getting some slot, Fort Kenya some slot, and ODM and ANC some slots. The cheating started right from the word go when, for a start, the ANC slot in the National Assembly was denied of the party and taken away by a partner party. Then it came to the Senate, where you know the manner in which I left the leadership of the minority in the House. And we have had a situation where the organs of NASA have not held any meetings at all. One of the partners has taken itself to be the NASA, the Alpha, the Omega, the Alpha and the Omega of the coalition. And the unlawful dispossession of Chris Omalo of the seat of Deputy Minority Whip is one such incident where a partner party does not have any regard for the partners and does things the way they want. If you notice how the matter was done, it is a member of a partner party that made the pronouncement. And they have continuously spoken from both sides of their mouth. When it suits them, NASA is alive. When it doesn't, NASA is dead. But that's water under the bridge. I think we don't want to drive with our eyes glued on the rearview mirror. We want to move forward and see how to contribute to the betterment of this country towards 2022 elections. Because what is going on in the National Assembly, in the Senate, in terms of leaderships, is part of the raptures politics of this country, where, you know, every other day there is a lot of intrigues, there's a lot of conspiracies, and there are a lot of backstabbings, but that is part of politics.
But Senator, one of your party members, that is Dr. Seli Simiu, is now the Deputy Minority Whip. Does this satisfy the interests of Fort Kenya when you are looking at how the seats have been shared?
First of all, it doesn't. Honorable Dr. Seli was rewarded with the seat that was dispossessed from Chris Omalo as a reward for the preparation of the coup in the party. That is what everybody knows. And as a party, we sat through the organs of the party, the PG. Within our party, the parliamentary group whip is Dr. Chris Omalo. And that is the reason why we funded him to become the deputy whip in the National Assembly. We have not dispossessed him of that responsibility within the party. Dr. Seli, in becoming the deputy minority whip in the National Assembly, was funded and proposed and embossed by ODM party. He was never a choice of our party. In any case, as the Secretary General of the party, as he then was, it is immoral to grab seats from your juniors. Chris Omalo is his junior within the rank and file of the party because he was the Secretary General at the time. And it is not right for me, for example, as a party leader, to descend below me and start grabbing opportunities and responsibilities of my subordinates.
Right.
That is not right.
But Senator, Dr. Chris Omalo has since accepted the turn of events, and he said that it gives him time to focus on other things. But how do you respond to accusations that you have run down the Fort Kenya party?
He did so on my advice.
Okay. So how do you respond to accusations that you have run down the party, that the nominations for the Ford Kenya party in 2017 were bungled, and these are some of the grounds that would be used to remove you? How do you reconcile all these differences that are there?
If it was done in 2017, have they waited until 2020 to realize that this was the case? The nominations of the party towards the general elections as primaries are done by an organ of the party called the Elections Board. The overseer of the Elections Board activities is the Secretary General of the party, who is Dr. Eseli Simiyu. He is the CEO of the party at the time he was acting as Secretary General. He is the one responsible for the secretariat of the party. And when we went to nominations, he was the one who was responsible for all this. Running down the party is the most awkward political deceit that you can hear, because when I became the party leader of Ford Kenya, the party had only one member, Dr. Eseli Simiyu of Tongaren. Today, we boast of moving the party to 13 members of parliament, to 86 MCAs. We have spread across the country. We have members of parliament from Tana River, the coast. We have Wajir in northern Kenya. We have the Deputy Speaker of Taita Taveta is from our party. The Deputy Speaker of Wajir is from our party.
Right.
We have MCAs in Nyanza. We have MCAs in Rift Valley. We have MCAs everywhere. So
right.
Where does the running down the party come in? I have grown this party. I have made this party visible, and I've spoken for this party. I've gone everywhere in the country marketing the party. Right. Those who are making those wild and outrageous allegations, ask them if they have ever stepped in Mandera, Wajir, or Tana River, or Lamu in campaign for the party. Never.
And Senator, because we need to start to wind up, so there's the conversation about the western part of the country. We've been seeing some leaders congregating to discuss the future of the region politically. You are a senior politician from Western Kenya. What do you think is the best strategy? Because apparently politics in this country is regional. I don't want to say ethnic, but regional. What do you think is the best strategy for the region moving forward with the future of politics?
Regional, ethnic, whatever you call it, they all mean the same thing. The politics of this country gravitates around regions, around communities, and we can't run away from that. When communities make their standard decision, they take a direction that their leaders lead them to. Now, talking about the Western region, we have a region that is heavily and densely populated, a region that is politically very active, very democratic. And I can tell you for free that today, if you go to the Western region, myself and Musalia Mudavadi, the leader of ANC, are crafting and moving along the lines and the philosophy that all politics are local. First, consolidate your region, consolidate your primary constituency, then make friendship with others. And I think to that extent we are doing reasonably well. I don't have to blow my own trumpet. If you go to the region and talk to anybody, they will tell you who their leaders are, not these generic leaders that are being invented in Nairobi and be given helicopters to hop all over and
Senator,
pretend to be leaders. When the time comes, you will see who the leaders of the Western region primarily, and then by extension the rest of the country are, and you'll see for yourself.
Senator, it's interesting you call them generic leaders, but finally, as we conclude, we've been seeing the shifts in the politics of the country. Wiper Party, who was your partner in NASA, is now cooperating with the government. Chama Cha Mashinani is cooperating with the government. ODM and its handshake. Where does that leave for Kenya and the ANC, and do you think you have any space of survival as you approach 2022?
Ford Kenya and ANC are not on anybody's political ventilator. Ford Kenya and ANC do not rely on oxygen tanks from any party. We are parties that are crafted democratically and are in existence on the basis and strength of their membership. Whatever is happening in the country is part of the known politics of Kenya, where in many cases As we say, sometimes people who don't stand for something can fall for anything. But I don't want to pass any value judgment on anybody. People have the democratic right to associate with whoever they want, to engage whoever they want. What I do know in law is that a party cannot belong to two coalitions. NASA, as a coalition, has a sunset clause for 2022 when we go to elections, and legally it is still in existence. ANC and Fort Kenya are not necessarily hanging on to NASA, but we are independent entities that were corporate members of NASA as a coalition. And the disturbances and fluidity of politics within NASA does not in any way undermine and affect the independence and the stability of our parties. We want to maintain our parties as stable entities that can play a positive role in the politics of this country, whether it's a process of BBI to change the constitution, whether it is a question of how to unite the country, whether it's a question of how to improve the economy of this country, whether it's a question of how to have a 2022 general election free of frictions and quarrels and conflicts and losses of property and lives that we have seen characterizing elections before. We are ready to play our part, and we are going to do so.
All right. Thank you so much, Senator Moses Wetangula, speaking to us from Nairobi. He is the Senator of Bungoma and also party leader of Fort Kenya. He says that he still is, despite the dispute within that party.